Ali, 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 yeah. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for his blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for his blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for his blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for his blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for his blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for his blessings. Ali was the circle 7. Islam. Family, want to rise upon the 7 and give all praises to the great God, Allah, Father God, Allah, and honors to his holy prophet, honors to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, El-Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali, that is. We give honors to our Moorish kin once again, here, there, and everywhere, and therefore honors to all of you who are continuously honoring yourselves by being yourselves. We give honors to our Grand National Seal. We give honors to our Grand National Emblem, National Flag, Divine Constitution, and bylaws, and honors to all of you who are indeed a living manifestation and personification of everything that our Holy Prophet brought to make us a nation. You know, we got a grand drawing to bring on the manifest, family. You know, we actually have stirred up the ethers once again, you know, with this truth. You know, they can't resist it. Want to give honors to all of our family out there, man, that's out here trying to teach our people, enlighten our people, uplift our people, you know, and bring them into a consciousness, you know, out of a sleeping slumber that we have been into for some time now, you know. And this is going to be a grand drawing here. I woke up because I've been invited on the platform to deal with our beloved goddesses and queen, you know, to just give my little portion of the understanding on a previous broadcast that they had. Shouts out to our sisters at Unscrambled Minds, you know, all of the goddesses and queens, man. That's one of the purest platforms as far as dealing with our people truly seeking to learn, you know. And you know, the sisters definitely are not with the foo-foo when it come down to the conflict, you know, but yet we see that there are those, you know, who trying to come into the platform and, you know, they coming in with the same chains and behavior that they had in other platforms, you know. And we just want to go into a measure that was brought to our attention earlier. We woke up and there was a situation where I was engaging with this one, as you can see right here in the title, Ankh, the Pseudo killer's head Huncho mind is being unscrambled. And shouts out to the brother, you know, because though he is definitely came forth a lot of time vehemently in opposition to what we present, we can see that our brother's crying out, you know, to be enlightened, You know, our brother Ankh is crying out for a high level uh, conversation, so to speak. You know, even though he has ran on numerous occasions, him and Reggie, and we're going to show you what has transpired after they have been exposed, because we have been exposing that these people are not as scientific in their literacy as they had been putting on. And now the community is starting to see this. You know, this is not an attack on the particular ones, but the jig is up. You know, the people are tired of the madness, and you're going to see that. You know, even our brother Sarnetta, we're going to give shots out to him as well. He chased them into the island of Patmos on his show last night. So if you ain't seen it, this thing is something else, family. And all I did is gave my measure, and the brother was lurking in the cut like he normally do, and came out. You know, this is how they do, Brother Commission. You know, I'm giving a measure, talking to the people, just giving my drawing, and then somebody come out to challenge the information. And it don't bother me. You know, I ain't upset because I already expect it. You know, I know, you know, how it go when I get up there speak. Anybody else can speak, is all good and well. They can speak as long as they want and everything. But when I start giving my measure, you know, oh Lord, he been speaking too long. And so we finna get into this demonstration without further ado or delay, because we have to inform our family of all of these different transitions when it comes to this information, so that it will be there historically, and our people can see where we at along the way. And like I say, this is not a measure of dealing with a concept to bash, you know, and beat down ones, but we got to expose these things so that they will reflect within the records, you know, that our people can basically see what is really what. I want to give honors to our brother Marquise L. Looked like it says Krishna, maybe. You know, want to give honors to our family. I don't know if that's our brother that was here, Marquise L. I don't know if that him and he has added something to his attribute, but if that is, if it ain't, all is well. You know, if that's another Marquise, all is well. You know, so honors to you, family. Honors to our sister Dosanea, because she been beating Ankh up for about almost a month and a half now. And you know, we are the one that exposed the kink in his armor, so to speak. You know, a few moons ago. You know, and ever since then, him and Reggie has been on a decline. You know, slowly but surely. With what it is, they are like almost the dinosaurs of the country's community right now. You know, since they like to talk about that type of science. But let me get into this demonstration. I want y'all to see it. That way y'all see this is not a narrative being spun or twisted or none of that right there. You know, we're going to present this respectfully and honest to our sister Sakina Rock, because she was right there. You know, but we just want to go into this because it was actually kind of funny to me this morning when I rose up and seen the brother had went live, you know, based upon the show that was done. So we're going to get to where everything started from. And we'll go into the essence of it. And actually, we're going to start with what he came up with after the fact. So let me put this measure here because we want to do it in a chronological order as the events unfolded. And that way you can have a better understanding of what it is. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to share my screen right now. And we give honors to our family. We want to say also that we're not trying to hijack the content of our family. You know, this is only for educational purposes. And I'm pretty sure, you know, that our goddess and queens, you know, understand that, along as well as our brother Sa, you know, because we're not doing this to disparage either one of their platforms. We're actually doing this again to just show you the developments, you know, in regards to dealing with our people. So honors to you, and honors again to not only Unscrambled Mind, but the House of Consciousness as well, because we got some grand things we're going to bring on the manifest, you know, even at that level, you know, to inform our people of some educational benefit when it comes to, you know, dialogue. You know, we ain't running from nothing. We ain't ducking no smoke, and we definitely ain't scared. So let me show y'all this. This is what we got right here. This is the particular broadcast we was invited to. And let me make sure it's sharing it should be sharing the audio. Yeah, I did. I selected sharing the audio. So we're gonna start right here and we're gonna take this demonstration uh into exactly what happened earlier as a result of this, because you got to know the backstory in order to see what's going on. So honors again to this conversation. This was a powerful conversation, by the way.
Okay, but my question is how long is Commission gonna sit here quiet and patient and diligent and
Go ahead, Commission. You got it.
and have said a word? Hotel King.
Yeah, we
Welcome.
love our brother Commission. Thank you so much for coming
Shimo
through.
Tepu family, how y'all doing?
I think you
Thank
scared.
you for enduring.
And
Yeah,
for the
no,
record,
all is good.
Sanchez is always the only person I have a problem with.
Let Sean,
Yeah,
please
yeah,
leave that
it is.
girl.
No, I'm saying that in a funny kind of way. He is. He's the only person that comes on where there's always this tension that I get back and forth with him, and it's not because he wants to answer a question. It didn't have nothing to do with that.
Okay, again, welcome to
Goodness.
King. How are you today?
Oh, all is well. How y'all doing, family? Y'all all right?
For the most of it, yes, we are.
Oh yeah, most
Just have to
definitely.
pull a
Yeah,
little thing.
yeah. I just I sit here and just give honors to our family, for having this conversation, and I heard the various different viewpoints, but y'all already know I see the unity in the bridge, so to speak, where many may not be able to see it. I'm talking about in all perspectives, so to speak.
Appreciate
You
you.
know, but if one say, all right, we're gonna come up with our own concept and theory, and we all should do that, then I agree we should be willing to hear each other out and see what it is that we are presenting. And I like to not do a reinventing of the wheel, so to speak, and bring some simplicity. It's some things that our sister Freedom said that's real key, and I'm gonna touch on that. And the concept of the European coming from us. I'm gonna touch on that a little bit, and I don't want to be long winded or nothing like that, but I do want to give our family some insight. Just listening to everybody, even what Mighty Hebrew said, what Sarnetta said, and then what the brother Sanchez said. Because in every argument, what I heard was, for example, with our sister Freedom, for example, her view is uh, similar to our view, that we demonstrate, meaning that basically we created them. So if it come from the aspect of them coming from us, that's where we can see that coming from.
No, that's my view. She don't
Not
see that.
right. Well, when I say that, I'm saying that she was saying she didn't agree with them coming from us. But
Exactly.
what I was saying in regards to dealing with them coming from us, it has to do with them creating us. You see what I'm saying?
Oh no.
I mean, us creating them parts. I mean, them not creating us, us coming from them under them scientific racism concepts they tried to come up with. And so basically, what I'm saying is that there's another thing that deals with intelligent design, which I could hear the brother Sanchez was saying without saying that or using that term. I don't know why he just didn't use it. But intelligent design, yeah, everything differentiates itself. But there's another term to be understood that gives credence to this. That also goes back to what Sister Freedom was saying, about us unfolding in different time, and it's called panspermia, the panspermia concept. I don't know if our people are familiar with that, where it talks about, because we know we all come from stardust according to science. But panspermia is dealing with the seeds that are being cast throughout the universe, and at specific times, bringing about a totally different species,
Yeah,
in that particular measure.
that's
So this comes with the creation itself. So I think our people should look into that more. I won't go all the way into it, but look it up, panspermia, and the concept about that right there, and we'll see if you attack that to intelligent design, meaning that it's intelligence in creation, And we can see this. We can see this even at the level of what we bring forth in life, right? And going into the concept of the Africa aspect, the out of Africa aspect. Now, we know that the term Africa is a fairly new term as it relates to our people, in this area. But our ancestors, according to our brother Sheikh Anta Diop, actually uses the term Akibalan. So this was the name that actually was given to the continent that we today call Africa by the Moors, according to our brother Sheikh Anta Diop. And not only them, but a couple of the people that was there used this terminology. But that word has been translated, as Garden of Eden, not to be caught up in the biblical aspect, but the word Akibalon, look it up. I have it in front of me right now too. But we have to look at it from that aspect, right? And see that all life, did start in that region that they are today calling Africa, even though I'm using the term Akibalon, or even we say the Mexico. I know our sister Freedom is familiar with that. So there are various different terms to be used, but that particular location is what we are speaking of, that life is in that area. Even DNA backs this up. When they deal with what a DNA left from, it left from that continent, regardless of whether you want to call it Africa or not. We ain't even dealing with the concept of the theory. We're saying that continent, whatever you want, or whatever name you want to put on it. You see what I'm saying? That's where our people originated, and they spread abroad from that. And a lot of this goes back to when everything was connected. Everything was one. You see what I'm saying? So when we see it from that aspect, I can see it from everybody's point of view. Like I say, I'm just bridging the gap. Everybody's opinion, I don't see them as clashing on that level, but I see different expressions, that are unique coming from all of our people. And I think that's where the misunderstanding is coming from, because some may be wanting somebody to say exactly what it is that they say, or they disagree. And so that's what we have the going back and forth. And in closing, I'll say this right here as well. The concept, again, of them coming from us, I feel has to do with us creating them, not in the aspects of them mutating out of us, because that's what we teach in my paradigm, that we created them, and they didn't even exist, in certain time periods or whatever. They weren't even thought about. That's why the European, say their beginning is 6,000 years ago most of the time, according to their calendar. Well, our ancestors been here for longer than that. You see? And so when you understand that, that's when you go back to, the concept of a slave species of the gods. And they were pretty much a slave species to us, which is why we ended up later on receiving the type of treatment that we receive now, because they know that we were their gods. You see what I'm saying? They know that we basically created their condition, so to speak. And that's why they fight like hell to make sure that we never put them back in that situation again. You see, they know who we are. They know that we are their creators. They know that we made them. You see? And so once we learn that, then we'll have a grander draw. And as far as Jane Elliott, I've seen some of her videos in the past, and we understand they didn't come from the same environment we come from. So they're speaking at their particular portion where they are. And by no means will it trump what we demonstrate, because she don't really know our plight to that extent. And she said it a couple of times that I'm not trying to, appease to nobody. I'm just basically giving my portion. And so we give the honors for one to even try to be honest. And she telling you that basically we know that y'all made us. She ain't saying it outright, but that's basically what she's saying. We know that y'all the gods. You see, so everybody is pretty much saying certain things, and I can see the bridge. You see, I sat here listening to all of y'all, and that's why I'm able to get this type of insight, because I'm listening. I'm not listening to respond and attack anything anyone said. I'm listening to unite the thought, and so when we get into that aspect there, family, all is well. And I just want to read something, a small paragraph from the Exhument of a Nation dealing with this subject. It's nothing outside of it. And if you will, Sister Freedom, allow me to share this screen, and then I'm done once I read this little paragraph, and we can hear from our family, if you will. And because I do believe that we need to pull up information and show our people, and we can't just come up with stuff without having something to back what it is that we're saying. You know, because if it's that easy, then we just might as well make up something. Or just go with what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught, or something like that, you know. Can y'all see my screen share, family?
Dawson, can you share his screen? And then Juju, you'll be next. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah. And so I'm gonna show you something right here. This is we was dealing with the concept of who are God's chosen people, right? Now this ain't going where y'all think it's going. So listen, it says, first of all, it says, for the great God to choose one people over another, right? It would not only make him or her a racist, but would be like choosing some of the water to be wet and the rest of the water not to be wet. The weakness the weakness is not in God's chosen people. That's a typo error. It says, but in the God the people has chosen. In setting the proper stage of understanding Africa as Eden, certain miseducation should be, right, undressed. The reader is to recall the whitewashing of Akubalan, Africa history. And he put that there because he know that's what people call the continent, you know. So he said that the blackening of her indigenous people, to illustrate these magnanimous sins and crimes upon the human family, it is necessary to state it was a divine work of the great God through his 7 eyes of the Elohim. That go back to what our brother Mighty Hebrew was talking about. It says to make the bodies of the first God from the flesh of indigenous grounds of Africa. It says Genesis 2:7. This alone solves the mystery of who are God's chosen people. It says, obviously, the freedom of choice rests well within the realms of the great God's grace and creativeness. He had not chosen Africa as the place which to the people, all right, to people the earth, it states there would be no mystery of God's chosen people, right? It says, when the Creator made the first God men of the earth, it will be 2.5 million years before the pale-skinned people of North would be cloned and exiled from Africa and then re-civilized. That's where I wanted to stop at right there, right? You know, and on that particular point, I just wanted to show you here again. Notice when the brothers put Africa here, you know, he's making this distinction because he know our people use all of these names. You know, the Moors use the Mexican, they use the Kubalan, you know, but we letting it be understood we're talking about the same place here. So there's no need to go back and forth over the semantics of the matter, right? And this was the last portion here. Smaller paragraph dealing with this concept of the monkey ape type thing. You know, I want to give honor.
Hey, good brother. Good
brother,
Commission.
brother, don't do that. Don't do that. Let me finish this. Hold up. Don't do that. Don't gaslight. We ain't gonna do that now. I'm finna be done right here. I understand you got something you want to say. So anyway, man from monkey. The brother say there are some people who believe man is direct descendant from apes. It appears somewhere in modern history. His story told about 1840 by Mr. and Mrs. Monkey said, "Let us make man." These people and those who accept their teachings have been Darwinized out of their Cro-Magnon Neanderthal loving minds. If, on the other part, this theory was remotely examined, it would reveal the continent of Africa as the closest monkey populated cradle, which could produce this kind, right, or any kind, so to speak, of a monkey man, right? One should ask, did the European have enough monkeys to make a man in the first place? Even if it did, would not these half-fed, flesh-eating cavemen have eaten their own mamas and papas? Strange as it may sound today, the high European echelon still venture forth to eat live monkey brains as a delicacy. This is obviously a wealthy attempt to ensure European inheritances of their Darwin hierological ancient four monkeys estate. I must admit, it is quite a phenomenon, and I'm stopping at this last point here. It is quite a phenomenon that monkeys have been made sexually active for well 3 million years, and the only mankind they could co-create were Europeans. He says perhaps they caught some strange monkey sperm that had ran amok. No man of human or nation of the human family has ever claimed to be void of human parents. Every nation attached to the human family, it say, has its Adam and its Eve. Any child is damned which disclaims or dishonors its father and mother. Where did Japheth go? Or was cousin Charles Darwin too ashamed to admit his fellow pale-skinned nations of Europe were really African social rejects? And that's where I stop at right there with that concept, you know. And so that's what I have to say in regards to dealing with the matter. But I give honors to my family, and that's my portion. And I love all of our family on the panel. Gratitude.
I just wanted to ask something about what you read. I'm not trying to gaslight. I just want clarity. So when you said the people of the continent, they referred to it as a Akiva. Who are these people you're talking about? What language is the word Akiva?
Oh,
and
you
how do we know?
that?
You said they were Moors, correct?
Yeah, the Moors are the ones who gave that country the name. You want me to show it to you? Cheek Anta Diop says it, but this is known. If you Google it right now, it would tell you that the Moors gave that country that name, Ekubalan.
Right.
That's
and what language is that word?
Just real quickly, I'm sorry to interrupt, but just real quickly, just for time's sake, Miss Juju has been waiting for a very long time.
Thank you.
My apologies. Go ahead, Juju.
All right, we want to give honors to our sister, you know, for coming in. As y'all seen, the particular brother came in, and that's what we be talking about. You know, as you seen, I had to stop him because he tried to cut into the bill. And the reason I did that is because me and this brother, you know, was in a particular broadcast, and it was him along with a couple of other individuals that was trying to demonstrate an ambush scholarship degree. And I already knew where he was trying to take this before I even finished, but we have to, you know, stop cutting into each other's bill, you know, because I sat there like the Queen said, and bear witness, I had been sitting there a minute, you know, and I didn't say anything. But for some reason, every time I get on the panel, I start triggering people. You know, some people say, well, he demonstrated this time, and they be demonstrating the same length of time, if not more than I demonstrated. And so the reason why a lot of times when I go further into depth of things when I speak is because when I answer a question straight to the point, you know, ones want to go into a rapid fire answering more questions, and it have us basically chasing our tails where we can't even get to what's actually being said. And so then, you know, the conversation get blowed up and it's misdirecting the course. That's why when I explain things, I try to explain them thoroughly. Because if I answer it straight to the point, they're going to still try to dig and dig and dig and make that out of something else. So that's why Brother Commission try to be thorough when he answers a question. I'm trying to cover all bases so that you understand exactly where I'm coming from and you have no misunderstanding of that. But unfortunately, even in the process of explaining certain things, if a person is not, the mind is not willing to accept, what it is, yet mature enough to receive, they'll never get it. So I answered the brother question actually before he asked it. He asked me who was the people that named the continent, Kubalan. I had already said that. You see, so if you heard me say that, why would you come back and ask a question, that I already answered, And so the sisters picked up on that, you see. And the reason they pick up on that is because they seen this stuff and they don't have a bunch of arguing on their platform, as far as them. And even if them sisters get into a going back and forth, them sisters get off that platform and they sisters again. They laughing and talking, and I'm talking about they can get into what we might perceive from the outside and say that's a heated debate. But one thing about it, they ain't going to war, hating each other over the information, tearing each other down, and so this is what we have to get beyond as brothers, as men, so to speak. So we want to give honor to the goddess energy, and some of these sisters are not even in the realms, so to speak, of what we claim to be. When it comes to being, some of us being at the head of a particular body or movements and so forth and so on, but yet they do have the decency of decorum and respect when it comes to each other, and they'll check each other. That's what you call realness right there. But see, a lot of these people, they get in the echo chamber and they don't have somebody to check them. It's the same way in our body. You can't just say no anything and demonstrate any type of way, in this Moorish paradigm. We don't breed, sheeple. We don't breed our people to be mental slaves, on the new form of mental slavery to what it is that we think or what we want them to believe. You see, we all have a voice and we have the right to critique and criticize and all of that right there, so long as this is done respectfully. You see, so it's nothing wrong with having a disagreement, so we want to also bring that to the forefront. And like I was telling them, my discipline in being able to sit back and listen to somebody is because for 15 years, for once, in our paradigm, we have a 7-day class weekly, and we sit down and we listen to each other. We listen to more, so it ain't hard for one coming out of my body. We listen to Moors give their whole measure, 1 and 2 hours, and we sit there patiently. Nobody never star 6 their phone and then just cut into the bill of the Moor that's demonstrating. So we eat. That's where my decorum come from and my discipline come from, because I've been doing this, like I say, 15 years. Listening to my Moorish kin, we listen to each other. So no one can never say we coming in and not hear what it is they say. And most of the time, if you ever see me speaking to somebody and they cut in and they try to take over the narrative, I'm trying to get them to see, brother, if you let me finish, I can give it to you. But then they'll gaslight and then go to argue. Some of them even cuss me out. All of that. But you never see Commission getting on here, cussing them out. And I don't do that. Everybody in the conscious community know that about me. Now I'll straighten one and say, when you talk to me, you're going to talk to me with respect. Because I don't cuss you. I don't do none of that. So you ain't going to do it to me. I ain't going to sit here patiently and allow you to disparage me, or try to, be real disrespectful. And I'm going to just sit there and be humble. I got the spirit of a man in me too. And ain't now time I told nobody I was Jesus, Buddha, or Muhammad. I'm striving to unfold the God self like self, but I do have a lot more discipline, which I didn't have that in my youth, because at one time I'll take off, before they can get it out their mouth, but praise be to the great God Allah, That's what disciplined me. So let me go into the other portion of this measure, so y'all can see exactly what happened. Because I want y'all to see point for point. Because I like to, when I put something out there, I don't want to put it out there in a half-cocked way. I want y'all to hear it exactly as it was, and without no remix on it, no chase. So here we go right here. Let me go further into this. And I'm going to have to move this marker up a little bit, so give me a second here. Let me see here. Uh-oh. And this is actually going into, because y'all heard me mention panspermia, which is something that Ankh didn't address in his video that he did this morning. That went right over his head. So that let me know he's not familiar with the subject matter, and that's all right, but at least, he had courage to be a little honest, even though he didn't want to be honest, in totality. He was a little honest to a certain degree. So let me see here. I'm trying to get this demonstration back on here. Let me go back here. Okay, and I'm gonna move this marker up again because I sat back and listened a few minutes again before I came back. Because I was asked, if it was anything I had to bring forth by the goddess and Sister Dulcinea. And I said, okay, yeah, I come forth and go ahead and get in the definition, since I spoke on panspermia and nobody really knew what was being stated at that time. So let me make sure that this is shared, my audio. Well, I think it is, because I didn't take it down. So let me go here.
When commission is done, I wanted to say something about a point that Sanchez had made prior to leaving. All right, go ahead, commission, you got it.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to show our people the definition of this word panspermia, because I see most of our people may not be familiar with it, and I'm gonna stand down on that. And can you see it still sharing right here?
Yes.
Okay, and this is very important. It's talking about the hypotheses, right? That's dealing with the seeds of life existing all over the universe. And that this is actually, it can be propagated through the space from one location to another. And this go back to the stardust concept, you see, because it actually links into that. But I wanted to go to this portion so it don't be long. And this is talking about the ultraviolet astronomy and quest for the origin of life. And this is from a 2021 post, and it says panspermia theory argues that life originated in space, in what they call spatter ices, right? And it states that and continuously distributed to the planets by comets and meteorites. In the soft panspermia theory stays one step behind, right? It says, according to this, instead of living forms, amino acid sugars and the molecules required from RNA are produced in space. Experiments consisting of the irradiation of interstellar ice analogs, right, with cellular-like UV radiation, have shown that indeed the building blocks of RNA can be produced in space. Moreover, these laboratory results agree well with the measurements obtained from meteorites and the data gathered by the Rosetta mission from the comet C67. And they call it the Koryumov Gerasimenko. It says the implication of this soft theory are enormous, since the result of life forms in the cosmos will be compatible at a molecular level. And this is not strange, because I always believe myself to understand that the universe was melanated, and we know that melanin in and of itself actually has to do with what we call DNA, and so forth and so on. So I'm just looking at this source because I came across it recently in some of my research, and I said that's a powerful view if we can look at it from this standpoint. Most of us agree we come from stardust, but to see the actual DNA imprint, in the cosmos is even more powerful, So I just wanted to say that, and I encourage the people to do more research as I'm doing it as well, So
Why you read that, bro? Why you read that, bro? No. Why you read that, bro?
Okay, so y'all notice before I can even get finished, now they go. Now you notice I'm encouraging our people to do research in this area. And I just gave them a source, and I'm gonna show you the actual website that I went into. But this is basically what happened. Why you read that, bro? Why you just come out of nowhere now? This is what I'm talking about. Why I read that?
Because we were talking about evolution. Why would you read that?
Why would I read that? Because I mentioned that before you came on here, brother, and I was giving them the definition of the measure that I was speaking on prior to you getting.
So you know that. So you agree that that doesn't have anything to do with life on Earth, though.
Now I want y'all to remember that. He say you do agree that that doesn't have anything to do with life on Earth, though. And you're gonna see my response to what he said just then. He's saying this ain't got nothing to do with life on Earth. Now I'm gonna show you how he gonna contradict himself in the video he did this morning, trying to attack this video. Watch this. No, I don't agree with that. I agree that I know
that's
that
why you read that.
Stardust. And being that we come from Stardust, as I just connected it to what I stated, I'm standing on that. Now, my question is, do you have anything?
Hold on, relax.
Hold up. You cutting into my bill.
It's not, everything is not a bill. Sometimes it's a normal conversation, though. Because you talk
they just was talking about that a few minutes ago, right? People
but you just have a long ass, crazy, wrong ass class.
I just came in here.
You don't want to have.
Okay,
I just came in here, bro.
Can I ask you a question?
Ask you a question.
I understand you don't want to hear what I'm saying.
Bobby, wait 1 second. Let Dots get in.
Please.
Go ahead. I'm going to argue with you, bro.
Yeah.
Dots,
what were you gonna say?
What's wrong with it?
Okay,
so y'all see that right there again. You see the cussing and all that there. I talk too effing much. And all I did is the sister asked me, did I want to share what I share? I shared it. And he cuts in. Why you doing that? Like, you going to control. You going to tell me what I can say and what I can't say, basically. And then cuss me out and get mad because he really upset because he really ain't familiar with the subject matter. It was really over his head. But now, notice, he say, you do agree that ain't got nothing to do with what took place on the earth. It's just dealing with the cosmos. Now we finna expose him again. He been getting exposed for about a month and a half now by Sister Dulcinea. Let me show you something. He didn't even address the panspermia aspect here. And I'm gonna show y'all where I got this from. He was upset because I went to a scientific site. But what he failed to realize is you deal with people like me and Dulcinea, any of the Moors in the circle that I'm in. We don't differentiate and try to separate the concepts of certain aspects of the science, from certain things that we know, because we can see what he don't see, because that goes back to him being a monomaniac. And look that up. That's somebody that can only deal with one subject matter and they don't want to deal with nothing else. That's a monomaniac. But when you go beyond that and think in your monomania that what you are saying is right, and you start pitting science against all other knowledge, all other branches, of information, then you become a sophomaniac. And a sophomaniac is one that boasts of superior intelligence. They believe that everybody else outside of what they are saying is wrong. So if they call us pseudo for being able to bring forth a unity, in the information, bring it into cohesion and have understanding in order to give both sides an ability to see these things, whether they look at it from a subjective or objective point of view, we bringing the balance to the conversation. But he's more like, shut it off. If it ain't about this science, we ain't got no business making this type of comparison over that. And we done show over and over that science came from philosophy. Science came from, what they call religious teachings back in the past, where they was observing, phenomena, so to speak. So we don't have to go into that aspect, but I'm gonna go into his conversation this morning so y'all can see, because that was pretty much the end of what we did, and want to give honors to our goddesses and queens again for this conversation and invited me to the panel, you know, because all I was doing is giving my portion, and we should all have a right to express ourselves, you know, without somebody trying to feel offended, you know, by what it is we present. You know, I don't have to oppose, you know, a Hebrew Israelite because I'm not Hebrew. I don't even have to oppose somebody that's Christian or Orthodox Muslim or NOI or, you know, 5%, whatever it is. I don't have to go against you because you coming in a different vehicle than I am. And that's not the way I demonstrate. My measures are always going to be to bridge the gap. So anybody that's coming against, you know, what it is I'm bringing, they coming against my attempt to try to get us to be able to meet halfway, you know, as a people. You see, not to get you to follow me, Brother Commission, not to get you to become a Moorish American. When I get up here and I demonstrate, and now nobody here can tell you I'm trying to convert you to Islamism. You see what I'm saying? But for some reason, they have this Islamophobia. You know, they have this Moorphobia. You know, when I get up here speaking, and I don't be talking nothing about, you know, the Moorish Holy Quran and none of that right there, except where I may make a reference to show ones that concept, but I never try to convert them or force them into believing what it is I'm demonstrating is the superior way. And if you don't accept this, you going to hell. I don't demonstrate like that. You'll never hear me, Brother Commission, talking like that. And so that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with Islamophobia and Moorphobia. Truth be told, in a lot of these individuals, I don't know if it's because, well, I know with the brother Reggie, a lot of his stuff come from the fact that the Moors would drag him up and down the country's community streets, you know, back when he first dealt with them, and he hasn't got over that. So I understand why Brother Reggie attacks, you know, but the problem is he can't deal with Brother Commission, you know, like they was dealing with the Moors prior to Brother Commission, because some of those Moors, all they did was study, you know, our Moorish Holy Quran, and they studied our 101s and the oral statements. And some of them didn't have a knowledge outside of what they were being told in their particular temples and so forth. Commission, on the other hand, we rooted in all of that the Moors were rooted in, but we also can go outside and show you sources that verify what it is we demonstrate. And that's what makes Commission dangerous. That's where Commission has now become, you know, the worthy foe, so to speak. You know, and my name be coming up and I ain't even there half of the time. You know, and so we have ones that feel like they got to get me out the way. They got to silence me. They want to cancel Commission because they feel like if they do that right there, then they done with the Moors. You know, but when we say, let's sit down and have a dialogue, they don't want to do that. They rather come in after I get in a peaceful bill like this and then try to tear it down. And to me, when I look at that, even our brother Sarnetta see through it. Shout out to Sarnetta, because he asking me like, why y'all keep running from this brother? You know, all of y'all, why y'all keep running? Y'all don't want it, but you want to come in on the bill, on the back end, and tear it down. And so I look at that as agent provocateur activity. You know, when people do stuff like that, you know, so you ain't really trying to come to no level where we can mediate between the truth. You just coming to try to tear down something that I'm intending to try to unite us with, not convert somebody with. You see? So I'm gonna go forward now to this particular information because this is Sarnetta's platform. And again, we ain't attacking the brother. You know, we just giving it to you as it is. And before I go there too, let me do this right here real quick. I want to show you the website that I have right here. You should be able to see that too. Here's the website here. It's just a regular scientific. This is a couple of these websites. But this is the one that was dealing with the concept of the panspermia. And I was actually reading from over here when I was speaking on the concept, you know, of panspermia. And unbeknownst to Ankh, this panspermia information goes beyond, you know, the aspects of dealing with what he's trying to talk about is, he's talking about, you know, how you gonna talk about this here and you don't respect the Big Bang. Nobody never said that they was in opposition to the Big Bang. What we say is what the Europeans describe as the Big Bang. Our ancestors had their way of describing it in ancient Kemet. And this dealt with the Neteru because the Neteru represented principles. And in most cases, those principles, in the Kemetic way, if you look at the story and you compared it to what they're talking about scientifically, you can see that this story was already told before they started talking about a Big Bang and calling it a Big Bang. All you got to do is know that Shu and Tefnu represent elements, in the cosmos, Nu and Nunet, Ku and Kuket. All that was dealing with the cosmos in Kemet. That's Kemetic cosmology. Way before the European came up, with this concept of what they call the Big Bang. And the Big Bang wasn't even dealing with a science. Shout out to our brother Mustafa Gadala, a real Egyptian-born scholar, who goes into this in his book, The Egyptian Cosmology, in the animated universe. He talks about, the time when the creation exists within Amen Renef, and what they would call the time of, basically, before the Big Bang, so to speak, or before what they call the Planck epoch, and another thing that I'm finna expose in a minute. I'm gonna wait till I get there. But I just wanted to show y'all the website I went to. Notice this is referred to astrobiology. Didn't make any statements in reference to that. Now, he said, I know you ain't trying to say that this has anything to do with anything on Earth, right? This is what Ankh said, right? You just talking about the cosmos. That's what he was asking. Look at what it say. The extraterrestrial or panspermia theories. Now, we ain't going to get into that. Oh, it's a theory because you say scientific theory is already true. Well, this is a scientific theory right here. But the panspermia theory suggests that life existed in outer space and was transported by meteorites, asteroids, or comets to a receptive Earth body bag right there. So this is what let you know that don't even understand what he's talking about. And we're finna get him on another point in a minute. Now look down here because it goes on. We're going to go on. It says, in the case of the origin of life is not related to environments possible on the early Earth, right? It says along similar lines, it says life may have been ejected by impacts from another planet in the solar system, right? And jettison, it says, to Earth, or vice versa. Furthermore, it has been suggested in the scientific literature that life may have been purposely directed to Earth, directed panspermia. And they give a figure and shows that, and I went past it, by an intelligent species from another planet. My God. I wonder what that intelligent species is, Ankh. Head Huncho or the Pseudo Killaz? Answer that question. This is a scientific site. One of the same one you use. But you didn't know about panspermia, did you? You see, he didn't make no mention of this. You're going to see that. He ain't going to make no mention of this panspermia. This is a diagram they given too, up here. But notice they're speaking of an intelligent species. Because they always say, well, in order for you to have some intelligent design, you got to have an intelligent designer. Well, if you're talking about intelligent species, then what you mean? Who you think the intelligent design is? Now, in the ancient time, in our Kemetic teaching, we would call this Neteru. Ain't nothing pseudo about that. This just goes to show you what our ancestors were talking about. They knew something, despite those who want to talk that foo-foo. Now, when you come over here, back here, look at, and I'm going to read this again. I already read it earlier in the video, but look at what they say up here, because they got many different aspects where they're speaking on this stuff. It said ultraviolet astronomy and the quest for the origin of life, right? Let me blow this up. The panspermia theory, again, Don't get to trying to move the goalposts and say, oh, he talking about a theory, because this coming from a scientific website. So this is based on scientific literacy. So if you accept scientific theory as a fact, then you must accept this as a fact too. See, this is what happens when you're dealing with somebody like Commission. You see, because I think outside of the box, unlike you. You can only see it from your position, and that's what makes you a monomaniac, huh? The panspermia theory argues that life is originated in space, in spatter ices, and continuously distributed to the planets by comets and meteorites. The soft panspermia theory stays one step behind. It says, according to this, instead of living forms of amino acid, sugars, and molecules required to form RNA are produced in space. Experiments consistent in the irradiation, it says, of interstellar ice analogs, it says, with stellar-like UV radiation, have shown that indeed the building blocks of RNA can be produced in space. Huh? Anything that got something to do with RNA has something to do with DNA. We're talking about information. Information is intelligence. Huh? That's why I've always called the cosmic universe, I called it the celestial Nile. You know, that melanin-drenched universe. You know, because I have found after my research, there is melanin in the universe, dark energy, you know, dark matter and so forth. This is the pigmentation of, you know, the cosmos, so to speak. So, of course, there is a connection dealing with RNA. And also we can go so far as to say DNA, because coming from this stardust, that intelligent species, they say this was purposely directed. If it was purposely directed, that means that someone was directing it. And they refer to it again as an intelligent species. So it says, again, moreover, these laboratory results agree well with the measurements obtained from meteorites and the data gathered by the Rosetta mission from comet C6 Churyumov, again, Gerasimenko. It says the implication of this soft theory are enormous, since as a result, life forms in the cosmos would be compatible at the molecular level. Now you're going to see in this statement that Ankh brings on the manifest, you know, that he going to confirm what I'm saying, you know, but say, I don't know what I'm reading. He going to make himself look real crazy in a minute. So let me show you this right here. Let me show you this right here. This is very important right here. So this took place last night. This is before the video he did this morning. I just so happened to pick up in the audience because I go and look in there. They was arguing with the brother Jabari about the word Timahu, you know, and I'm gonna show something in confirmation of this, because Jabari was actually right about the Timahu. Timahu not only mean white people, but this goes back to what I was saying when I spoke with our sister Freedom, and Sister Freedom agreed, you know, on certain aspects. But my thing is that them coming from us, you know, she didn't agree that they come from us, you know, in the aspects of that. She think they're different species. But I told her that that has to do with them coming from us by us creating them. And Temahu actually means created white people. That's what it actually translates into. And I'm going to show you this in a minute. So that's where this picked up at in this conversation on Sarnetta's channel. Watch this. And watch what Sarnetta do to him and Reggie. You know, because the community see through him now. Shouts out to the House of Consciousness.
You're basically saying that. And I'm not asking you a question. I'm talking. I'm not asking you a question, bro. Because you disrespected the decorum of conversation at this point. So let me talk. I'm not asking you a question to dive in and talk for 35 minutes. I can't take it. So listen, what I'm basically saying is, you know that I know that you read the Book of Beginnings. You also know that the word Timhu does not mean white, nowhere remotely close mean white people, but yet you still put that word with that, the people who aren't as studied as me and you are running around here saying the Tim who mean white people because Jabari said it. And you know that's my issue. So I'm teaching evolution. I'm saying no, it don't. Ain't no white people in Egypt. Just like it's not. And they say no, Tim who means white. At no point have I ever heard you correct them. And using the word like most likely, it don't most likely mean nothing white, bro. It doesn't even say that in the glyphs. You know it, and I know it, Jabari. So what I'm saying is, look, bro, I'm not trying to smash you out for one word. That's not what I'm doing here. I'm not stabbing you in the back. I'm kind of wondering why you even feel the need to over-explain it. But just stop saying that it's not closely to nothing white. You claim to read the glyphs, and if you read the glyphs, nowhere does the word Tim who mean white nothing. Now, it might be an ethnic group of people, but it does not mean white. Like the word Kim means black, the word Tim who does not mean white, Jabari.
Now, let me stop that right there. So this is where the problem comes in at. Now, you know, we as Moors know the difference between the word white and black and the social constructs, you know, as it relates to that. So we know that when they dealt with this translation of this word Timahu, you know, which actually it was translated as created white people. I'm finna show this to you in a minute, right? Brother Jabbar may not have all of these other sources I have, and shouts out to the brother as well, you know, but I'm gonna show you the brother is right based on what he does have. You see, in that brother Ankh, on the other hand, he claims, you know, his claims and have no proof of saying, he just talking. He don't even study the Medu Neter like that. He don't even read it. At least Jabari know a little more about Medu Neter than Ankh does. You see what I'm saying? Ankh don't even care to deal with the concepts of it. But when we go into the aspect of Medu Neter, that's a whole nother conversation, you know, in regards to dealing with the language, because they don't even know that the transliteration comes from hieratic, you know, in most cases. So we done had this discussion. But when it comes to him honoring that scholarship, they'll do that when they see the word black, though. You know, they say the word Kimmy mean black, you know, and all this stuff right here. But now they want to move the goalposts again and say, all right, well, this ain't white. Well, which one is it? Was the Europeans correct? And they quote unquote so-called, and notice I say so-called translation of Medu Neter, which we know you don't deal with no pictures when you're dealing with the language. So if you accepting that as being the truth with black, now why when it comes to the word white, that is a problem. Like I say, we as Moors understand, you know, the use of the word white and black. We already know they wasn't coming from a level of the Moorish paradigm when they was defining these things either. You see, so they don't use the word white like we Moors understand, or the word black like we Moors understand what those terms mean. They was using that based upon the scientific racism that had been passed down to them when them creating the construct of race as they understood it from the Eurocentric perspective. But they did put in these works, and it's not just one book, and a lot of them, some of these people were before Gerald Massey, before the Book of the Beginnings. You know, they were drawing from the Egyptologist, Champollion. Y'all Champ is the one that said that this meant created white people. And he wrote a letter to his brother based upon this. He was shocked that they was called created white people. See, this is the type of stuff they don't tell y'all. They champion Champollion, the great remixer and reverse engineer, you know, of the language, you know, creator of his own version of it. He is the one that came up with that. You see? And Gerald Massey picked it up from him. And not only him, but Alan Gardenia was also of that mindset. And a few more had the same mindset dealing with this. Now, let me show it to you real quick. I'm going to show you right now those authors who have spoken on the Tamahu being created white people. You see? Watch this. And I got a couple of them up here too. I got so many up here, I might have to clean my computer out because this stuff be bogging my computer down. Look at all them sources back there. That's why I keep telling them they can't play with me. Now, this is one right here, right? This is actually from an Asiatic brother. And he had an article from William Ellis in here. This is actually the brother here too, right here, from the what they call it, the Phrenological Journal of Science and Health, right? So Asiatic did this here. This is from his book in 1875. You see, he was explaining this, talking about the black nations of Europe. We don't use the term black in this era and time, but we know what they were talking about back then. They were talking about melanated people. So we ain't gonna get into the semantics of that. So this is what this is solely dealing with, showing you the Asiatic or the Moorish, which is the proper term, nations of Europe, right? And so over here in this area, because we're gonna deal with it specifically what we're talking about. He said the inscription on the bas relief in the what he called the Medinet Abu, bearing the date in the 4th dynasty, affords proof of the existence of nations to the north of the Mediterranean, then dominated Tamahu and Anebu, possessing a high degree of civilization and in general appearance similar to the Libyans and Berbers. Now, this goes into the concept, I don't know if y'all are familiar with it, but there's a so-called white group of Moors, and then they compare them to a black group of Moors. We don't use the term white and black when it deal with, how we speak. I'm just telling you the way the Europeans are taught. In other words, some European Moors and some Moorish Moors. You see, and this is what he's making reference to here. And he's referring to the European Moors as the Tamahu, right? It says, in general appearance similar to the Libyans and Berbers, they often contend with the Egyptians, endeavoring once by an immense confederation of Libyans, Sicilians, Etruscans, Lycians, Achaeans, to invade or overrun the entire country. But the more western nations of Italy, France, Spain, and the islands of Corsica and Sardinia, it says, who were a blacker race than the Egyptians. It says, though of similar physiognomy, were in alliance with them and furnished troops for their army. So they're saying there are a group of melanated Moors that was working with the Egyptians. But there was also a lighter group of these special ones, and they were referred to as the Tamahu. You see? Now watch this. That's just one source right there, right? And I got so many, I ain't going to go over all of them, family, but I am going to show you that the brother Jabbar is right about these people. Only thing he didn't emphasize that they were created. That's what I was telling them in my measure when I first came on. We the ones that made them. You see? Hold up. This is another one here. Let me see here. See what it says here? The Tamahu are Libyans. And that's only one side of who they are calling the Libyans and Libya. Because there are also those who were known as Libyans that were actually, they tried to use the term Berber for, but these were the Marayu, as the Egyptians called them in their language. It says, and the others who escaped to the east, the Sasu. Each were the Egyptian notions of 4 great races of the family of mankind which inhabited the earth. You see, so they were saying that these were not, the races that were mentioned. They even go further into other aspects, but I'm dealing strictly with the Tamahu, so I ain't going to go into all the other, measures at this time. I can do that in a whole nother drawing. I'm just showing these different sources. This was that one was of the ancient Egyptian history. This is from of Cretan and Aegean, the Aegean script. And it says, as to the character of the autochthonous race of Egypt, there seems to be a good reason for accepting the view that they are to be identified with the people of Oasis or the Tihinu. Now, there you go. That's the proper name for what we call the Tihinu. These are what we call melanated ones as well. And then they go into the Tamahu race. Because when they talk about these two people, a lot of people don't understand the difference. One is melanated, that was considered of the Libiyu, or what they call Libyans, and one is considered, more of the bright complexion. That's why you had Gaddafi, though he was considered Libyan, he was saying, well, I'm, of a darker hue. I'm of the original people, basically. He didn't look at himself like no white Arab. He understood his history. But it says a race of Libyan stock who in earlier time extended as far as the Nubian borders of Egypt. It says members of this white-skinned race, so European in its affinities, still formed a distinct part of the Egyptian population as late as the 4th dynasty. It says, though reduced to the position of Killaz, we may provisionally apply the term Egypto-Libyan or Proto-Libyan to this early indigenous population of the Nile Valley. But what they are saying is that there was a mixture between the original people and those people that were there, because Tamahu were again considered of a lighter stock and so forth and so on, But it gets deeper because it connects the Tamahu, in a lot of my sources, it connects them to the Hyksos as well. You see? I'm trying to find the measure where it specifically called them created white people. They also referred to them as Homo Caucasus too, for those who don't know. You see? And notice how they saying white, brown, and dark Hamites. So when people say that, the Caucasians, had some connection at one time, to being part and parcel of our people, that's where they get that from. Saying that there was an admixture after a time of them being created, they began to mix in with our people. And this is why you have the mulatto breed or the mixed breed now, right there. See it? The Tamahu Hamites of the Egyptian records, they're saying that they came, from that original region. You see? I'm going to give you nothing here because y'all got to see the actual term. Created white people. And this is actually, a lot of these coming from different sources from the 1800s. This was one here too. I'm just trying to find the marker here. That's going deep in detail of the one I had read. I want to get straight to the point. I don't want to read over because that's what kills a lot of time when I be trying to read everything. And I do that because I'm trying to make sure people understand it. But the whole main thing here, there it go right there. Finally, the last skin color we call fresh color, the white skin in its most delicate tint, and straight, slightly arched nose, blue eyes, and fair and ruddy beard. Is very tall and slim. He is clothed in an undressed bullock hide and veritable savage, tattooed on different parts of his body. This race is called the Tamahu, the Europeans. Thus, if we can count on the accuracy of the pains described by Champollion and on the correctness of their interpretation, the Egyptian race would have had an alkaline nose and red or brown skin, right? These are not Negro characters. Huh? These old sources right here. That's the races of Africa right there. All you got to do is go to Google Books and you're going to find these books. Every last one of them. See, when Commission come, he comes strapped. We ain't here to play. We are not here for play, family. So they can try to deny this, but the general opinion of men, I keep telling them, will never alter the nature of the truth. Just by you saying it don't exist. And this is what he was trying to go after Jabari for. Right here, Jeremiah explains the Egyptian word Tamahu, a term designating Libyans in the ancient Egyptian language, literally means created white people. Now, this is not from the, and it also is quoting here, if you go further, it's actually saying, it says, lending credence to the probability that the ancient Libyans were albinoids. It says, more than likely originally black-skinned people of origin, which I already covered that. It says, but rejected the caste out of Egyptian, Ethiopian, or Kushite society because of their unseemly complexions. Diop, for instance, cites Herodotus, who states that the Egyptians, the Libyans, remain on the lowest rung of civilization, right? Because he actually mentioned them as well. Diop talk about them as well. But they lie because the Libyans actually, those who don't know no better, The Europeans that have been given this history, they don't know it was the Libyans who were the last dynasty that really ruled the longest, so to speak, you know, in that particular area. But it says, here's another right here. This division of humankind for successive into 4 successive primitive races was accepted by the oldest priests of Egypt. They are represented by 4 figures of different types and skin colors in the panes of the tomb of Seti I. It says at Thebes, the red race bears the name Rut, the Asiatic race with a yellow skin Amur, right? It says African race with black skin Halasio, Labiko, the European race with white skin, blonde hair, Tamahu. Again, you feel me? So, I mean, they already out of there right there. You know, even when we get into the book dealing with the pre-Adamites, it talks about them here. It talks about the Tamahu here as well. Where is that page at? These are a whole bunch of books from the 1800s, family. Here it is right here. This is coming from the book dealing with pre-Adamites. You know, there it is again. The features of the color of the Egyptian and Assyrian, the Tamahu, or white, and Hindu are unmistakable as those of the Negro. Huh? So again, it's always letting you know that word Tamahu, the way that it has been translated by Champollion, they champ. You know, that's how he demonstrated it. You see? That's crazy. Let's go here. I had another one here that I actually double clipped that one right there. Here's an actual depiction of the Tamahu to remove all doubt right here. This is from the African colonies right here. That's the name of this particular mention. Notice it's speaking here, says the Egyptian documents are already referred to, called the invaders Tamahu, which must have come from the invaders' own language, as it is not Egyptian. It says the Tuaregs of the present day may be regarded as the best representatives of the Tamahus. And they're talking about the modern day, some of the Eurocentric looking Tuaregs, but because some of the Moorish Tuaregs are still there. See, that's the dilemma that people fail to realize. Like when you hear them talking about the Berbers and saying the Berbers was a white people, and then some of them was black people, it's because they amalgamated with the people. That ain't hard to understand. How you think mixed babies look when we have a relation with the European? The same way they look over there now from the admixture that took place. So that shouldn't even be an argument. But anyway, it says they are of lofty stature, have blue eyes, and cling to the custom of bearing long swords to be wielded in both hands. In Sudan, on the banks of Niger, dwells a Negro tribe ruled by a royal family, the Maasais. It says, who are rather fair complexion and claim descent from white men. Why do you think they claiming that descent from these so-called white men? Because they have been misunderstood in their history. So they have pretty much brainwashed some of these people. You see? Because they telling them that the original Tamahu was the European, but they ain't telling you original Tamahu was the melanated one. And these other that came later came through an admixture or taking on the name, just like the name Moor. Moor really referred to our people, or people of a dark-skinned people, as they would like to say in their dictionary. So how in the world you gonna say Europeans is then the Moors if it tell you the Moors specifically mean dark-complected people? See that right there? You know, we got to stop letting our people get away with this stuff. It don't make no sense. So this is your Tamahu right here. You know good and well that ain't no more right there. And we came to seeing from that scientifically it wouldn't be true. In fact, the recessive gene in us is what allows the process of albinism to take place. So we can indeed, too, melanated, darkly or heavily melanated people, God man, God woman, can produce that recessive gene. That's only because there had been an admixture, you know, that is demonstrated that allows that to be present, so to speak. You know, the impurity of it. You see, and the furthest common ancestors that we can go back and find, you know, test his DNA and see how strong, you know, that recessive gene is. Is it even present? Because we ain't seen nobody do that yet. But we do know that recessiveness comes from, you know, our ancestors intermingling, so to speak. It could have been a more modern expression of it, or it could be more ancient, you know, but we most definitely know that's where it comes from. So, you know, the brother Jabari, you know, is right on his position here. You know, we can go on and on and on with it, because I got it up here. You know, I got source after source. You know, I can do this all day long. Everything I'm clicking through here is saying the same thing. Thus, we find that the origin of the Egyptian civilization of people with the Caucasian type, with long hair, occupied in the valley of the Nile, as far as the Assyrian, and all this is showing how the Hyksos and their bloodline was mixed in. It then goes down here talking about the Egyptians show themselves to us as Africans, having some connection with the neighboring natives of the West Africans, Libyans, Berbers, as they are called now. Then they say Hindu and the Tamahu, as they are styled in the Egyptian inscriptions. So, you know, we see this thing going on, you know, at a certain time period. Here it is again. You know, this is from the Shades of Memnon, a book called The Shades of Memnon. The Tamahu people of European descent. Kemetic Tama means people and Hu means white. Various Tamahu people dwelled near the Mediterranean Sea, all up there by Greece and all that, right? Living in relative peace with their Kushite neighbors until the Great World War circa 1200 BC. So everything was all right until 12 BC is where they really started going to war, is what they're trying to say. At this time, nearly all of these civilizations were destroyed by a coalition led by Northern Tamahu called the People of the Sea. You see? So, like, I mean, this is really like overkill right here. But I keep telling y'all, Commission ain't gonna never talk about nothing he ain't got no knowledge of. I can prove what I say. Here it is again. This is from the document The Permanency of Type. This is dealing with races, the Nasu, right? Or the Prognathius Negroes, you know, with woolly hair. The Nehesu is what they call them, Nehesi, the Nubians. These are the original, you know, people that actually had to do with establishment of Kemet in the first place too. A lot of people don't know that. But it says the Tamahu, whites with blue eyes. Huh? You know, one thing about Commission, I'm with you when you're right. So Jabari got them on this here, but think that he can argue things and use that up the street and round the corner mentality to influence people, but he can only influence those who want to be ignorant. See that again? In anthropology, this book dealing with anthropology, it's from the 1800s too. Berbers, Egyptians, Somalis, Hamitic, Arabic, Abyssinian, Hebrew, Semitic. And they saying this is where your white admixture comes in. Not that all these ones were white, but the ones we're looking at now that call themselves Jews and Hebrews and, you know, that are mixed. You see? But they all go back to the Hamitic root in all actuality. The darker root is what I'm saying. So, I mean, we can go on and on with this here. I really don't have to go no further, you know, but, you know, this is what I'm saying. Our people got to stop the madness, man. Here it is again. This is from a critical review of the history of ancient Egypt from the 1800s again. In reference to the expulsion of the enemy, he says, I have, and this is dealing with coming from an inscription on the pylons, I have made their land my own among the nations. And it was talking about the Tamahu again, the white people from the north which is really considered Lower Egypt on the map, because you know when you deal with it, you flip it upside down, you know, like they did the map of Kubalan, the Moors did. See what I'm saying? So, you know, there are more than enough evidence here, you know, that's dealing with what we're talking about. So what it is, our people getting lost in the intellectual sauce, so to speak. And this is where they missing the mark, so to speak. This one here goes into a whole lot dealing with the leprosy and everything else. This is a sketch, you know, that was found, you know, of one of the sea peoples, according to them. Not the original peoples, you know, like our people, but this is what they're showing. Francis Champollion. This is from defeated. I'm dealing with sound shifting. Prisoners depicted on the mortuary temple of Ramesses III, one that I share some connection to, right? About 1155 BCE, notice the Viking horns flowing, beard and long hair, earring in the sun, this on top of the helmet, you know? And so it goes into one fine shared culture and genetics, Pelic notes among the Scandinavians, Berbers, Egyptians, Phoenicians, and white people of the far north. So there were admixtures that went on. Everybody know this stuff right here now. You know what I mean? We know that. We don't deny that. Even in this book dealing with the Moorish civilization of Europe. You know, and this is from somebody that's not a Moor in the Moorish Science Temple, but an average scholar. Elmer von Fleschier wrote this. And he's making a distinction between what they call the black Moors and the white Moors. But watch what he tells you here. A careful examination of history reveals that even Prophet Muhammad, like Ishmael, was of the black race. He using the term black. We know there ain't no such thing as black, but we know what he's trying to say. And was black in complexion. He's quoting Wayne Chandler. Another author, he says, in Greco-Roman times, the various people of Africa were known as Ethiopians. Europeans of the Middle Ages all called Africans Moors. John G. Jackson. Mathematics, astronomy, and botany, history, philosophy, and jurisprudence, it says, were to be mastered in Spain and Spain alone. Whatsoever makes a kingdom great and prosperous, whatsoever tends to refinement and civilization was found in Muslim Spain. Stanley Lane Poole. Here it is in 711 AD, the Black Moors of North Africa crossed the Straits of Gibraltar and invaded the Iberian Peninsula. The so-called Dark Ages has spread its clouds all over Europe. The fruits of civilization obtained by the Greeks from Africans passed on to Romans had met an untimely death with the demise of Western Roman Empire at the hands of the barbarians. Modern works have sought to distort the identity of the Moors in a futile effort to obliterate the fact that Africans had once conquered Europeans on their own soil, and indeed brought about a level of civilization that ultimately awakened Europe from its stupor and ushered in the Renaissance. The African-American historian Chancellor Williams has said in his work, The Destruction of Black Civilization, now again, just who were the Moors? The answer is very easy. The original Moors, like the original Egyptians, were black Africans. As amalgamation became more and more widespread, only the Berbers, Arabs, and Coloreds in Moroccan territories were called Moors, while the darkest and black-skinned Africans were called Blackamoors, and eventually black was dropped from the Blackamoor in North Africa and Morocco in particular. All Muslim Arabs, mixed breeds, and Berbers are readily regarded as Moors. It says the African blacks having had even this name taken from them must contend for recognition as Moors, meaning they got to basically, you know, contend now with some other people with being the Moors automatically now, you know. And this is the same author right here. He actually had another book. He was talking about the people that had came here, the ancient vessels that were used by the Egyptians that was here in the Americas. Talking about a lot of evidence to prove the contact with, you know, the black contact with America before Columbus. You know, and his son, Ferdinand Columbus, wrote about the blacks after his father saw in Honduras. They were there before Columbus, who was actually lost. He wanted to find a way to India and discovered the Americas instead and called the people he met Indians. There were blacks in Columbus' expedition to Americas. The captain of the flagship Santa Maria, which is the ship that was actually found by a European that I know, his father. Cain Fisher found that ship. Mel Fisher found that ship, and Cain Fisher is his son, and he was diving with him on a lot of those finds. He found like 4 of them there: Tocha, the San Maria, and the Pinta, and it was one more. But it says was a black man. They had shackles on them too, baby antidote. Cain told me that out of his own mouth. Again, I keep telling that man, Daddy, everywhere he dropped his anchor, he found these ships in gold. And he was looking for the lost city of Atlantis when he died. It says was a black man from Morocco. You know, that's what that represented. In other words, it was a Moor. You see, Lopez de Gamara, Fray Georgia Garcia, and Raymond Payne, Rodrigo de Clemenares, and others have mentioned seeing or hearing of blacks in the Americas. When Alonso Ponce landed in Campeche off Mexico, the inhabitants told him that blacks had been there before him. Columbus was fully aware that the Mandinkas and other countries already had been to the Caribbean, South America, Central, as well as North American territories. Mandinkas are also Moorish. People don't know that. They even came to Canada where they traded and intermarried with the Iroquois and the Algonquin Indians. Professor Dixon has claimed in his Racial History of Mankind that there appears to be a black strand in early Indians of Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and in Central America. In fact, blacks were the first inhabitants of North America. The so-called mound builders were black. The truth about the mound builders is suppressed. Why? Because they were an advanced civilization of dark-skinned, woolly-headed blacks who were indigenous, native to North America, kin to the Olmecs of South America. Suzar blacked out through whitewash. Shouts out to Dr. Suzar because that's the first book that really took me into, going deep into the information. It's talking about the giants being found in some of the mounds and, pyramids bigger than the pyramids in Kemet. It goes into all that. But this is a scholar that is not a Moor that is giving all this information. So, it don't get no plainer in this family. It don't get no plainer in this. I'm just showing y'all this here because this add on to it. So we understand. So there was a time that you had those who were referred to as, there's always been a parallel history since there has been an admixture of our people. Whether you're dealing with the Tamahu and the Nehesi, or the Tehenu, or you coming up into the time and dealing with the Moors, themselves. The Europeans has had their own group, also mixed up in there, This is a powerful measure too, coming from the same author I was just reading to you from his material. You got a couple of books. But listen to what he says here. He says, Al-Mansur, 753 and 75. It says that the capital was moved from Damascus to the new city of Baghdad. A lot of that deal with the age of enlightenment too, right? In fact, several of the Abbasid caliphs are said to be very black or had black slave mothers. It says, as pointed out by Graham W. Urn in his essay, African Bondage in the Asian Lands in the African Presence in Early Asia, edited by Renoka Rashidi. Shouts out to the brother, and Ivan Van Sertima. It says the Umayyads were in control of the northern Arabia, Syria, Persia, while the Abbasids controlled the southern Arabia and Khorasan. Although the Prophet's cousin Ali was made caliph in 656 CE, his election was opposed by the governor of Syria, Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan, thereby forcing the Abbasids to embark on a fierce military struggle with their adversaries. This racial and religious tension was later to have an adverse impact on the Moorish Empire in Europe. And that's what Brother Dr. Clark was talking about when they started fighting each other. You know, this brought about a conflict that allowed the Moorish Empire to fall. The original Berbers were black, and we know Berber is a misnomer as well, so we ain't got to get into that. We're not offended by this author constantly using the word black because we know what's being said. We know that they are not Moorish Americans as we are. So, you know, we just looking at it and we understand what's being said. It says the Berbers, who played some of the most crucial roles in the Moorish conquest of Spain, included the Hawara, Nafza, and the Senhaja clans. The Senhaja included Lamtuna, the Masmuda, Sus, Kunta, and the Zanaga, Asanaga, Sagir of Morocco. And if you ever seen that picture where I showed you the prophet was in the midst of those ones in Egypt, you know, during the time it said he was there, those are known as the Senhaja Moors that come from this lineage right here. You see? So it gives a couple of tribes, the Nafusawa, the Mansufa, the Lamta Berbers. Many of these Berbers during the period of the time were blacks and were ranged in color from dark to very dark. The Tibu, the Tuareg were originally Lamta Berbers who are of the most part black. The Moors were known in Arabic literature as Berbers. So that's where they come up with that. Remember I told you the Arabs is the one that put the term Berber out there. You see, but Roman documents also indicated the presence of several blacks among the Berbers known as Getuli, which is another aspect. And the Aspadiolus, Delotes part itself, Aspodiles. But anyway, it says, goes on and says, it is therefore clear that the word Berber as well as Arab can be misleading. And this is what has been going on with the people because they've been saying Berber, Berber, Berber. I keep telling them that's a misnomer. It was given to them by the Arabs. The Moorish Empire existed really prior to the Arabs. Whether they know it or not, Moor been around before Arab. It refers more to the culture than the race. It says there are, of course, and they talking about the term Berber, of course, mixed and light complected Berbers like the Kabyles. And that's what they talking about. The so-called dark again mixed with the so-called light again. You know, so I mean, it just goes on. And this, like I said, this is overkill. It should bring some measures. That's the actual book that information was coming from, though. Again, from Eilimer von Fleschier. You see, not a Moorish American, not a Moor according to dealing with, you know, the teaching that we deal with, but yet, nevertheless, given a grand degree of understanding on who the Moors are. You know, so, you know, we give honor to that. This is another picture where he's showing the Moors dealing with the chess game, you know, playing, you know, here. The term Moor originally referred to blacks, but with the passage of the time, the term referred to all Muslims of respected color. Brother Dr. Clark said the same thing. There are also light complected Moors. It must be realized that the earliest Moors in Spain was black, but light-skinned Arabs also migrated from the Arab world in vast numbers to Spain, and there were many dynasties in Spain, and not all were dominated by blacks. So when you look at that and you understand that, that should end the whole argument. You know, because I done talked on this right here, but they said it as well. And then they cover the white Moors. You know, brighter skinned complected Moors here as well, among the Arabs. You see? And that's only after they came and admixed with the original Moors. You know, so here's another drawing from the book. And I'm going to go on to our measure again. We actually just read this, but we didn't go far. It said ancient Mauritania, not the present day country of Mauritania, included modern day northern Morocco and parts of Algeria. The Romans referred to the black inhabitants who dominated the region, Maures, from the Greek word Maros, which means black or scorched. Now, how in the world are you going to make that be a European? Make it make sense. They are true Moors. They are the true Moors. Later, the word Moor was used in a general term for blacks, irrespective of location, as well as to North African Muslims in general. When you understand that right there, you wouldn't even be arguing about this no more. The true Moors, blacks, were later called blacker Moors to distinguish them from the light complected or complexion inhabitants of North Africa. The ancestors of the true Moors were probably formidable Gramantes who occupied parts of North Africa and the Sahara. Tactics called these courageous blacks invincible, and Romans found them to be formidable adversaries. White invaders of Libya were defeated by Menes Ahamenid, the black Egyptian king. The blacks of Egypt called them the Tamahu. Say it again, Tamahu being defeated by Mene, Amina. Tama means people created, people and created. Who means white. They go, you created white people. So it says white, light, ivory. The Tamahu were therefore created white people. The original blacks of Libya were called Lebu or Tehinu. The original blacks of Libya, as they call it. You know, it's just saying melanated people. Needless to say, intermixture occurred between the two races, and hence the term tawny Moors or white Moors. I went into this in one of my recent lectures not long ago. Further intermixture occurred between the early black Arab invaders and the minority light-complected inhabitants of tawny Moors of North Africa. The tawny Moors, it says, have often been regarded as Berbers, although the original Berbers were black, and even today there are black Berbers. And the word Berber was probably obtained from the Roman word Barbary or barbarian. It's actually from the Arabs, and then the Romans adopted it. And they definitely meant barbarian by it. So it says, see Jeremiah's A Book of Beginnings. He describes the Tamahu as created white people. See Wayne Chandler's essay, The Moors Light of Europe's Dark Age. It says in the golden age of the Moor, as well as Dana Reynolds' essay, The African Heritage. Shouts out to Dana Reynolds, still dropping that knowledge. An ethno-history of the Moors, background to emerge of the early Berber and Arab people from prehistory in Islamic dynasties. Romans referred to all peoples who could not speak Latin and Greek as barbarians. Dana Reynolds has pointed out the name Mari, as it's been said, which I've been telling y'all all the while, was first used for one of the several dozen black tribes that occupied North Africa even before the Christian era. The tribe itself included several clans, included Mari, Mazasis, Mari, Ueris, Mari, Bagada, Mari, Jitani, pardon self, and it's one of these clans, the Baris or the Barbaries, whose names was frequently amended to Barbaries or Berbers in ancient Roman texts. See Dana Reynolds' essay in the Golden Age of the Moor. The Romans called the blacks Libyans. They met in North Africa, barbarians. Arabs later changed them to Berber. And that's what I was talking about earlier. Dana Reynolds knows this history too. So we got to understand before we start regurgitating stuff, just because we want to be in opposition to somebody, the general opinion of men would never basically alter the nature of truth. Now listen to this. Listen to this guy. After everything that I just said. So we just proved Jabari right in what Jabari is saying. Now listen to it.
So no, the Egyptians didn't have a concept of race. You said we was clear on that. You agree? So if you agree on that, you can't turn around and then say most likely. Because when you say most likely, people are thinking, well, they most likely might have had a term for race, but they didn't, Jabari. This is my point. So I'm not.
So we just see he say Egyptian didn't have a term for race. So see, you see this? Now all them sources I just showed you, but he been getting away with this, but now he exposed. Watch what happened to him. Sarnetta finna run him and Dr. Reggie into the island of Patmos. Those who are cast out and those who accept their teaching. Watch this. That's why I tell y'all about Sarnetta. A lot of people might not like that brother in his position, but I always respected Sarnetta from this aspect. One thing about him, He ain't gonna act like he rocking with you. He gonna tell you exactly what he feel. You got to honor that and respect that. And he don't discriminate on who he gonna do that with. Watch this.
Stab you in the back, Jabari. I'm simply saying your use of the word Timhu to most likely mean white is just wrong. In my humble opinion, bro. That's all I'm saying based off what I know about.
Now that's Sarnetta. He's starting a video to show them that yes, indeed, they did have a people that was referred to by certain names according to race. Watch this.
Evolution. That's my point, Jabari. I'll yield the floor to where you at, Reggie?
You should know there are no white people. We're agreeing that there's a social construct. There are no white.
So now Jabari does have the knowledge of understanding that white is a social construct. You see, but that still doesn't negate the fact that these people that translated these books that we just seen with the works, that's how they was describing them. So even Jabari understand the word white is a social construct.
People, there are no black people.
Yo, look at the screen, y'all. Look at the screen.
Did you hear him say there are no white people, are no black people, right? You see what I'm saying? Jabari understand this here. So that make him way further along than
Because now they making me do it now.
Come on, Reggie. I called. Where was you at, Reggie?
Look at the screen,
No, I
goddamn it.
told you. I'm like, where you at? And Reggie,
You ain't see it right there where they showing you? There you go right there. Look,
Can I talk now?
Look,
See them names right there? See what Sarnetta put up there on the screen? Tahinu, Tamehu, Mesh West. Same stuff I was just talking about now. So Sarnetta trying to show it to her.
You see it?
Yeah, what is this you showing?
It's a documentary on the Tomahawk.
Can I talk now?
Reggie,
He's showing the documentary. He's showing the documentary.
A doc of fakery. Come on, yo. We should gonna show a haphazard video. I give up. The game is rigged. It's rigged. It's rigged.
It is rigged, but we're gonna clean this shit up right now.
Yeah, clean that shit up, yo. Dive in.
What was
So
that?
at this point, it was everybody trying to jump on the brother Jabari. And Sarnetta said he had enough of it. So Sarnetta said, I'm finna get in it. So it's basically Sarnetta and Jabari, you know, that's basically beating up Reggie and Ankh at this point, family.
And Sarnetta. Oh, God. Jesus Christ. I'm going to blame you, Smash Rockwell.
Nah, y'all just messed up a nice presentation with beef and stuff.
We wasn't beefing, yo. He dove with me. He ain't dive at you like that. He said you playing square. Come on, man. All right. We're gonna hit the
See, y'all not looking. Y'all not looking.
No, we
Just
looking,
gonna get
man.
into it.
It's not a documentary in my circles. We wouldn't call it a documentary. You just call it a damn video with some words.
You're talking all through the movie. This how you do at the movie?
Yep. In Harlem, we do.
All right, Reggie. Go ahead. You got the floor, brother Reg.
All right, wonderful. Okay, so to talk about the groups called the Tomahawk, independent of all the other groups, is problematic to our people. So if you want to mention the Tomahawk, you would mention it with all the other groups. That documentary that you said, that you showed, clearly makes my point, because it's not isolate, right? It's not isolate word. So I'm gonna share my screen if I can, if I'm not freezing up. So let me share my screen, and I'm gonna show you how scholarly you should do it. Instead of flooding our community with one word, right? It's simple. Flooding the community with
Y'all the ones that's doing that.
Shut the hell up! I'm talking.
No, come on, Reggie. Reggie. Come on, Reggie. You gotta stop, brother. You gotta stop. You can't do that, Reggie. Nope. You can't do that.
I'm a child.
Right. Come on, man. We all men up in here, Reggie. You wrong, brother.
So
the only one that's spreading
so
one.
you notice Sarnetta done put Reggie in the bike now. You know what I mean? He get up there cussing, just went off. He did the same thing to that old lady Jane Elliott the other day as well. Check him out now. Watch this.
Word through the community is you and Ankh. All Jabari did was spoke on the word. Y'all took it and y'all ran with it. And y'all want to try to use that one word. Jabari done moved on. Y'all still stuck on that one word, man.
All I'm
Oh yeah, really. This nigga came all we on here for one word though, didn't it? If it was just one.
Minimalizing everybody. This is the good study. This is good research.
You wasn't even supposed to be here, Unc.
Right. So how I get here?
Can I
it
say
was supposed to just be Jabari and Reggie.
Folks, let me just say this. Let me just say,
man.
I have
now,
other.
Why you put Reggie out of here?
I'm gonna move on, right? I enjoyed your presentation, Smash. I saw what you were trying to do, and I agree that it's not a perfect term. I agree with it. So that's that. Folks, if you want to have an issue with that term, you can have an issue with it. I'm okay with it. Okay. I'm gonna see y'all later. Peace. Hopefully, all of y'all got your tickets for Sunday.
I put my math in the back chat, my email. Hit me up so we can.
Absolutely. Hey,
you know what?
All right. Okay, hey, Smash, man.
Right.
Go ahead, close this thing out, Smash. I need you to close out, brother.
But I mean, how I'm closing out first, though.
No, you're the only one.
You need to let them close out first.
You're the only one. You're the only one closing out. They're not closing out.
Didn't even speak. Reggie didn't even speak.
Brother, you got too much hate in you, brother. Nope. You got too much hate. You gotta let that shit go.
I'm gonna burn the.
Yo,
press
Reggie,
the button, Reggie.
Go,
We're about
brother.
to come right over there. Start the after party.
There you go.
Y'all gotta be more.
And that
Start the after party,
bro. Let me speak.
No, you got too much hate in you, bro.
Judgment.
You gotta go to church. Cleanse that shit, man.
Judgment.
Cleanse that shit. I
you know
love you, but no, brother. You got too much hate in you, man, for this shit. Close out, Smash. Close this shit out, man.
All right, what's up, Si? Thanks for letting me do this. Look,
you got too much hate, Reggie. This shit is crazy.
I think y'all kind of messed up a good presentation.
You see how scared they are?
I think y'all messed up a good presentation that came in the spirit of reconciliation. Sometimes two people could be right. And stop fronting that if you see, hold on, I'm closing out. Stop fronting. If you see a term linguistically related to something at a later time, it had to develop into that somehow. It didn't just all of a sudden one day they picked a word that was close to another one and said, this is Tamahu. But y'all know me, I always maintain that I said, and I think Jabari was wrong, and I'm closing out, I think he was wrong in putting that on Ankh because it might have been me who said he got it from Gerald Massey. But let's talk about in closing out the difference between assumption and presumption. Presumption is when you just got a little bit of evidence to go off. Assumption is when you ain't got none. And seeing that I never really heard, he could say he talked to Solange, asked me all that, cool. I'll talk to her about that too. But one thing I want to know is I never heard him say none of this before. He could have deaded all this the same way I just did. And so whether or not my family, like, Ankh ain't messing with me. He's like, this Smash go again. But the fact is, me and what Reggie maintains seems to still be true about the Old Kingdom and the Egyptian period, that term wasn't used for that. And what Jabari saying, Tamehu, seems to have some evidence in the Meroitic term, which was Tameya, which they say linguistically goes back to Tamahu. So why we couldn't all just chill on that? Ain't nobody took no big-ass L.
Smash, can I ask you a question?
So, other words, Smash willing to accept, what Jabari was saying about the word and where he could trace it to, and that's the difference. We give honors to Smash for being willing to admit that and, say, let's stop it right there, even though he was of the original opinion. So that shows some honesty on his part. Shout out to the brother Smash Rockwell for that. We got our contentions as well. But, the truth is what the truth is. And we got to be that mature when it comes to this information. Just like when I'm bringing this language, they should be willing to take that same position when they see that I'm telling them the truth outside of what Rome has told them. But that's a whole nother measure. But watch this.
Yeah. But I'm closing out, though. So are you going to go live next?
Wait, no, this is not fair. You're doing me dirty.
I'm with you.
Wait, I'm asking you a question.
Show. This is another show.
Here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. If you would have came in like a man disagree like a man. Ain't none of us kids up here, Reggie. You can't do that, brother. Everybody see the hate in you, man. And it's not, I'm not gonna let y'all disrespect the champ like that, man.
You wouldn't even let me.
Come on, man. Y'all want the champ, y'all want to be the belt. Challenge him to a damn debate, challenge him. Nah, we good. I'm out of here, man. I don't like that shit, man. Y'all,
I know you.
I'm not gonna have y'all jumping on me, man. Come on, man.
You trying to save your little Mayweather?
Whatever, brother. I'm here to save him, brother. This is the toughest environment to be in.
You are in the house of consciousness, God damn it!
I set the stage with the lights off. Let the little nigga breathe to the vice law. You ain't never like a room with the right sauce. Hail Mary, they despise what the light brought.
I just had came in, after a little point and seeing this and rewinded back. But saw done pretty much, he out of there. He done ran him into out of the Patmos. And that's what I caught. That's why you going to see I did a couple of little posts and saw put them up there on the screen. But we know
what you can't be. They say that murder on my mind and it can't breathe. Take a picture of the proof that's your last peep. Oh, and need me your love, yeah, that's just me. Just keep them jumping like
I seen Reggie blow smoke into the camera. That's
so they might be when the sun set, and they don't really want to bleed from the gun playing like mine, nigga smoking weed on the one-way street, nigga. Yeah, we see we outside with it. Pull up to the base like we might be with it on guard. Side these niggas like bullshit and they fraud. Let me chop them down with the sword. Walk them down like they live hard. Just the toughest you gon' be in, we too hard. And you don't really want that smoke, my G. Side net on TV, this is the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in, toughest environment.
You are in the house of consciousness, God damn it!
Toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in, toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in, toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in, toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in. Keep that off your lip before you get flipped. We got sources over here, we don't just spit. Too many bosses over here, y'all just legit. Put them niggas in the game, let them get real. Don't even step unless you come in with that scholarship. That economic tip, gotta make $1 flip. And I might be next, I don't give a damn, a truth rolling with me, so I'm feeling like the son of man. Too many gon' hate, gotta make a stand. I'm just trying to duck the lake, you don't understand. Read them when I greet them, that's my best plan. Head first shit, I'm just saying. Nigga meet me in LA, oh you just playing. Too many be fake what the base saying. So I tell them they don't want no smoke before they end up in the newspaper next day. Smoke is the toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in. Toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in. Toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in. Toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in. Toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in. Toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in. Toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in. Toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in. And this is it right here.
Yeah, so basically Sarnetta letting them know is up with the foo-foo. And we got to give honors to the brother for, being on his mufti duty, when it comes to dealing with recognizing the foolery. These guys have been the cancer of the conscious community for years. And, now it has came back to hunt them, and they're going to only go on a further decline. When it comes to this information, they've been exposed. They're being exposed on all corners. And unless they're willing to come into a level, because I don't want these brothers, some people to just go in opposition to these brothers and tear them down. That ain't what we're talking about. But we're saying these ones have to come to a state of what we call a term of agreement, to where they get out of this state of thinking that they can just attack people, because they don't like, what it is that they demonstrate. They don't like where they come from, intellectually. because that's the sign of what we call intellectual narcissism. You see? And so we got to stop that, because that is killing the conscious community, killing the babies that want to come and learn. You know, everything is not meant to be turned into, you know, a poop show, so to speak, for lack of better words. You know, everything is not to become a dung slanging contest, so to speak. And so we just say, honest to our family, and this was our last measure here. After all of this, this is what Ankh woke up with on his mind. And this is how he started out. This is our closing, the grand finale of this session. And it's going to all make sense when we get through dealing with what it is we done put out here. So we seen Ankh done been exposed on the Tamahu concept. He been exposed, you know, already when he tried to jump into my conversation a few minutes ago. Y'all seen me read the scientific sources. You know, now watch this. Yet he woke up a few hours ago and he tried it again. Look at it.
Yeah, man, we here, and we always dealing with the high-level conversations. Shout out to the sisterhood. Unscrambled your minds, scramble your minds. Man, that show we off the chain, man. We was on there, man, and they was, boy, having fun as usual, man. It seems like the more scientific you get, the more people will attack you, yo. And y'all got to understand that, yo. So it's a real transition into calling yourself natural and talking about natural and not understand a damn thing about natural. Natural ain't just talking the talk.
Now, you notice he's saying he was attacked. Now, y'all seen what happened. He cut in my conversation, started cussing me out. But he was attacked by the people, basically.
Natural is walking the walk, understanding your natural world. And we already know around here, the best tool for understanding the natural world, man, is science. Human beings created religion and spirituality, one and the same, to understand the supernatural, which we don't live in. Human beings created science to understand the natural world, which we live in. You will live and die in the natural world. And after you die, that's up to you, how you want to believe. Man, y'all know what it is, man. Let's get right into it, man. Y'all see the title, man. From stars to fossils. From stardust to fossils. Man, that boy Commission be trying hard, yo, but he be running to the damn brick wall when it comes to science. That's why I love science. Y'all can play with it, but you're gonna run right into the brick walls like a video game. You be running full speed, that wall come on over and bow. Yeah, man, and we gonna pick you off, man, because we picking them up off the concrete, we sweeping them up. So Comedic, yo, pulled up a scientific article and ain't know what the hell it was talking about, man. And he talked about the stardust and this and that, man. If the brother just sit down and chill, man, he might.
Now notice he said I pulled up an article and I didn't know what it was talking about, but he didn't make reference to the article. He picked up me mentioning stardust, and then he failed to address the panspermia concept. He said, I didn't know what I was talking about, but watch what he said. He's a contradictor. Watch this, watch him. I didn't know what I'm talking about, but watch him in a minute. You know, this is the one that I always say that a well-organized lie will always defeat an unorganized truth. That's his concept. So he trying to organize, he well-organized in his lie, but I see through it. And I'm showing it to you now. Watch this.
Get it. If you don't want to get it, he want to flim, flam, flim, flam, blam, boom you. That's what he want to do. He want to act like you know everything. But you can't pull out a scientific article on me and think you're going to be able to get that off. I render your gun, which was your scientific article. I take the bullets away. Now, he talked about stardust. Let me introduce something to you real fast. And he talks about stardust, which is ridiculous to me, because if you ask that brother whether he deals with the Big Bang, he will say no. This is a stop sign. You can't say stardust in one hand, and I don't agree with the Big Bang on the other hand.
Now, this is what lets you know Ankh don't understand cosmology. He say you can't mention stardust on one hand and say you don't believe in the Big Bang. First and foremost, I showed y'all early in this video what our concept, of the Big Bang, an expression represents in Kemet. You see, I'm saying that I don't accept the Europeans' version of how they say things come on to manifest, just because they said it. I do my own investigation, but our ancestors already had their concept out there, and it is plain for me. For me, if not nobody else, for me, I understand they was talking about this stuff before the European came up with their Big Bang. All you got to do is go back to the cosmology of ancient Kemet and know who the Neteru are. Now, his problem is, on the other hand, he's saying, how can I believe in us evolving from stardust and not recognize the Big Bang? But what he fails to realize is, prior to the Big Bang, there wasn't even stardust. So for him to ask that question, if stars come after the Big Bang, then how are you going to equate that to me having to believe in the Big Bang in order to believe in the concept of the stardust when the stardust come after what they would call the so-called Big Bang? That don't make no sense. What is he talking about? But he gonna talk himself in a circle in a minute. Watch him. Watch what he say.
It's called tomfoolery. At the end of the day, I'm gonna say this again for all y'all who don't get right the contradiction. Stardust, we come from stardust, but I don't believe in the Big Bang. Where the hell you think the stardust come from, ladies and gentlemen? Man, out of the Big Bang. Yeah, see? You can't say I'm African, and Africans started in Africa. We was first to walk upright. We the oldest on planet Earth. And then say, we don't agree with evolution. On one hand, we come from Africa, and we the oldest, and we walk upright. First to walk upright. And then on the other hand, Charles Darwin is a racist. I don't agree with evolution. Do you see the contradiction? It's through human evolution that we understand that we come from Africa. I don't agree with all of Africa. Ridiculous. There's mutations that occur that we can trace them back, like the crime scene. We can go back to the crime scene by tracing the mutation rate with the molecular clock. Boop, 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 boop. And get back to where the oldest or first mutations occurred in Homo sapiens sapien, which would take you back to Africa. So stop saying that we stardust, but you don't agree with the Big Bang. That's retarded. The next time somebody say they stardust and then start howling screaming about they the Big Bang, they don't do the Big Bang, say you're a walking contradiction. And that's tomfoolery. And walk away from it.
Now you see how he tried to spin the narrative? See, that's what he been doing all these years. I'm one of the ones to expose him. And the sister Dulcinea has exposed him. Been getting him for, like I said, the last month and a half. Because when we supposed to have the dialogue between each other, it was based upon intelligent design, basically versus the Darwinian theory. And he turned down that discussion, which is what Sarnetta started asking, like, man, why y'all keep running from this brother? But every time I go and give my measure on different shows, they showing up, him and Reggie, want to give a different take, trying to attack my information, but they don't want to sit down and have a intellectual dialogue, and so that's what he does. And so now he on his own channel trying to attack what was being spoken of on that channel, and he ain't even addressing what I'm talking about. I was talking about panspermia. And he said, I know, he say, you do agree, right, that that's talking about the cosmology out there in the space and ain't dealing with the earth. I say, no, I don't agree with that. Because panspermia has to do with the material reaching the earth at a molecular level and being able to influence it and change the molecular structure. So it does connect to the concept of evolution. Not the way he's thinking about it. His evolution, he don't know, is really devolution. You see what I'm saying? Evolution, to me, has to do with intelligent design, intelligent directors, and direction being demonstrated, just as that scientific article said that I showed earlier. And that this is an intelligent species that's directing it. Comedically, we refer to that as neteru. You see? That ain't nothing pseudo about that. That's saying in ancient Egypt, they had a model about the cosmos way before the European came up with the concept. But this panspermia measure, nobody has been talking about it. And so I brought it forth to our panel, and he jumped in to come with some contention, not even knowing what I was talking about, because he didn't address it right here. He went to talking about stardust because he heard me mention stardust, but he failed to address the totality of what I was saying. And this is what you call selective hearing, people. It is a part of that intellectual narcissism and monomaniac behavior that the brother has been suffering from. Remember, the monomaniac is the only one that can see what it is they're saying as being the truth. A sophomaniac is one that has thought themselves to be intellectually superior to others. It's called delusion, people. And so now this one is being exposed from this. But check this out, because it ain't long after this here.
Don't get into the loud conversation with him, howling, screaming. Don't even do it. That's why I got off that panel. I'm like, I'm not going to be able to do this. Nah, let me just put together a show. I don't want to hear about we African, we the oldest such thing, and then deny the outer Africa theory. Big up the Juju. She say the outer Africa theory ain't got nothing to do with the plants and the other animals. It's got nothing to do with that. It's talking about Homo sapiens sapien, the out of Africa theory, right? Talking about how we started in Africa and migrated out. In the scientific literature, this will confuse you. You have African and non-African. But all Homo sapiens sapiens are African apes. But how could this be? How could it be African and non-African, but all Homo sapiens sapiens are African apes? The naked apes. Y'all don't like that word. How about primates? Y'all don't like that word. What the hell is going on? Stop saying humans then, because humans are primates. Another contradiction. You can't keep saying we humans and then say we're not primates, because humans are primates. Stop saying we come from monkeys. We don't come from monkeys. Oh, humans don't come from primates. Humans are primates. See, that's a little bit softer landed for you when I say primate. Because if I say great apes, you lose your damn mind. But I understand it because I've been through that. Let's get right into this. What I want to show y'all is the cosmic background radiation real quick. And we're going to use the European space science real quick. I don't like that word. I mean, the white people that will do it. Yeah, man, shut up. Knock it off. Knock on y'all morning commute. If y'all in Atlanta, y'all still stuck in traffic. In California, you're stuck in traffic. So we're going to come to the national.
Now watch how he died by his own source right here. Now remember, he said to me, Commission, I know you ain't trying to say that this stuff dealing with the cosmos got anything to do with, it dealing with anything on Earth, right? And now watch what he come behind himself. And he gonna literally, I'm gonna let y'all hear.
The Natural History Museum, credible source, top level. All right. Oh, we made of stardust. You'll hear people make this conversation all the time. We come from stardust. Shut the hell up. We come from stardust. You don't know what the hell you talking about. You heard that shit on the sci-fi program, and you wilding out and you jump up on platforms with people who are very vulnerable to misinformation, to disinformation, and you don't even know how to explain it. And then you pull out wild ass articles that don't got nothing to do with nothing, just talking. Come on, man. We're gonna stop trying to sound intelligent, man. Look, come on, man. I stammer and stammer on words and all that, man. I ain't trying to sound like nothing, man. I'm trying to get it right for y'all, man. Y'all be like, why are you always winning? Because I'm always using the winning team. I always rely on the champ.
Which is European
Y'all know
science.
who the champ is. Champion is science. It's undefeated. We ain't faking like we undefeated. Paper champ. I ain't gonna say it. Y'all gonna say I'm hating if I say it. Not gonna say it. Are we made of stardust? You hear this statement in the conscious community. Remember, we actually pulled out an element chart. It's the chemical element chart, ladies and gentlemen. Life is chemical. And we had pulled out a chart showing you the different times when different elements came into being. So that means when you look at this element chart, they're gonna have atomic number on it. That means this cannot be broken down no farther. All right. And if you look at the chart, can I make this bigger real quick? Just real quick, man. If you look at the chart, it's just showing you that in actuality, when a person makes the statement that we are stardust, they're actually correct, but they don't agree with none of the damn things that would help verify and prove that.
You heard him. He say low key. When they say this, they actually correct. A few minutes ago, he was talking crazy about it. Now watch this. Listen to him. Watch him now. Now, if you look here, it say it is totally 100% true. Nearly all elements of the human body were made in star, and many have come through several supernovas. Human body now. This is what it's saying. Right here in the source that he getting ready to read. And he gonna actually read that. But listen to what he say behind it. And that's when we're gonna end the conversation.
Stardust. So you see the different colors, man, all in your body. Absolutely. Copper, fluorine, iodine, iron, magnesium, silicone, zinc. All that is in your body. Let's talk about this. All right. I'm gonna stay close to the text. All we stardust, it says stars that go supernova. Did a whole show on that on Pseudo Killaz, are responsible for creating many of the elements of the periodic table. That's the chemical periodic table, including those that make up human bodies. Now, you got to be a damn fool if you think human beings dove out a damn star. We stardust, we dove out the stars.
Now, see that right there? Who said something about diving out of a star? I said the cosmos and the earth was seeded with stardust. And this is called panspermia. You see, so he'll take that, and these people that like to follow an occultic mindset, the cult leader who's always talking against cults, they let them get away with this. And I hate it when they do this to the masses, because this is disingenuous. They are saying they think that our people are stupid. They think you ignorant enough to listen to anything they say, so they can say that I said he dived out of the stars. Then all of a sudden now y'all say a commission pseudo. He said, no, that's what he said. You seen what was said here if you've been here from the beginning. Not one time I say nobody dived out of star. But they would do this type of, see, that's a part of that well-organized lie that he liked to promote. Watch this.
With clothes on and Jordans. That's how y'all be doing. It's funny to me. Planetarian scientist and stardust expert Dr. Ashley King explained. So we're going to listen to Dr. Ashley King because she's an expert on the said subject matter. We ain't listening to Commission because he tripping.
Okay, you heard him, right? We ain't listening to Commission because he tripping, right? Now watch what he come back and say in the same breath.
Nah, he all right, but he be tripping. He give me homework. I can always beat him up, blow my fists up.
He mean that I make him think. He don't like the fact that I make him think because he thought he knew it all, and I'm supposed to be a pseudo-religious man in his mind. So he's saying that he don't like for me make him think.
Knock him out. The real information is say it is totally 100% true. So Commission was totally 100% true, but he only.
I be tripping, but now I'm totally 100% true. See, that's why I say I'm gonna end it after he say this. I'm totally 100% true, but watch why he followed it. Watch this.
Even know why he was true, because he denies all the things that proves he's true. Walking contradiction. Nearly all the elements in the human body were made in a star. All the elements in the human body were made 100% true.
Let me see.
But he don't even know why he was true, because he denies all the things that proves he's true.
What?
Walking contradiction. Nearly all.
How I'm gonna be 100% true, but not know that I'm 100% true? Do that make any sense? This man done lost. Oh man, he done lost his mind. Poor brother.
All the elements in the human body were made in a star, and many have come through several supernovas.
There you go, family. There you have it.
Once again, most of the elements that make up the human body were formed in stars.
Okay, so when I told you that the body was formed from stardust, Ankh, I hope you look at this, or somebody run and tell you commission over here going live on your video so you can learn some more. You still didn't address the panspermia concept that I showed you in the scientific source. You know, so I know that statement went over your head, but that's all good and well, brother. Just say you don't know. I understand you want to make commission wrong so bad, but look at what it has brought you, brother. You and Reggie is basically in the island of Patmos now. Sarnetta just ran y'all into the Caucasus Mountains because you are accepting the teachings of the European and the Roman. That's your Bible. Even though you say you don't believe in religion, the Darwinian theory in his book of natural selection, they refer to it as the Darwinian Bible. That's your holy book, bro. You ate up with it, unfortunately. And I ain't mad at you. That's your position. I ain't trying to beat you up, brother. I'm just saying, brother, you got to go back and do some more research, brother. Because you the one that's presenting yourself again as the sophomaniac that you are. You know, one who has superior understanding, everybody else wrong, monomaniac. You doing that, not us, and you being exposed. So with that being said, I ain't even got to go no further. You know, if you want to go look at his video and see everything else he said, that's what it is. But you just seen him say commission is 100% right. Let me play this. Let me play this one more time.
But he be tripping. He give me homework. I can always beat him up, blow my fists up, and then knock him out. The real information is say it is totally 100% true. So commission was totally 100% true, but he don't even know why he was true, because he denies all the things that proves he's true. Walking contradiction. Nearly all the elements in the human body were made in a star.
Lord have mercy. I'm gonna end it right here, family. Let me go to that because I ain't been engaging with my audience. You know what I mean? So I'm over here now. You know, I had to let y'all see that, family. I had it on full share because I didn't want to lose none of this. Because sometimes what I do, I end up stopping my screen sharing and think that I'm sharing. You know what I mean? Yeah, he did call us apes again. And then he be lying saying he didn't say nothing about monkeys. And he do go back and forth. If anybody have ever listened to this brother, he used the term ape at some time, but he do go back to the term monkey at times. I done heard him do it. I can pull the videos up. You know what I mean? But he has got caught in that well-organized white lie. And he's been bodied, you know, by the truth. We didn't have to organize the truth. The truth is the only thing that changes not, family. You know, so we want to give honors to everybody that sat here and listened to this. You know, pass it on. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, because we're going to keep exposing these mono and sophomaniacs, these intellectual narcissists. We got to put them out there, family, because they are the cancer of our community at this point. They don't want to see us unite. Brother Commission trying to bring us together. I'm not here to attack them for the sake, but we got to expose you. And anybody that know me I don't just get at people outside the paradigm. If you in the Moorish paradigm and you ain't right, you can't get by with commission. And for many, if they don't know it, I was first going at the Moors that wasn't standing up for the prophet like they should have been. So this ain't nothing new to me. I ain't attacking somebody because of their ideology. You know, the Grand Quran taught us to teach the truth even if it's against the self. In other words, take accountability where you're wrong at. Honest to Sister Sakina Rock. Honest to our good brother Marquise L. Krishna. You know, honest to all of our family. Sister Dulcinea. Honest to your goddess and queen. Keep well in that scimitar of truth, you know, like you have been. You know, it don't get no plainer than this. Honest to our brother, Consul General, Brother Bati Bey. Honest to you, Grand Man, you know, as well. You know, and I like that too, brother, when you were speaking of Mozarabic. That's right. That's where the term Akubalan would have come from. That's right. You know, so honest to all of you. Honest to our family from London. So we got our family from London over here looking in at us as well. The Netta Bosco. We got another one of our families from London that been tuning in. That's what I'm talking about. Honest to all of y'all, family. You know, just get this information out here because this information is what's going to unite our people, family. That's facts. You know, this is the information that's going to bring us together. You know, when I say bring us together, I'm talking about us being able to think, you know, as one, as opposed to getting caught up into a lot of conflict and unnecessary confusion. Honest again to our family and our unscrambled mind, because they definitely are dealing with some unscrambling of the mind. I think we're reaching the brother because at least he did admit that commission was 100% right. Even though he tried to say, I didn't know why. How you going to be 100% right and not know why you're right? Do that make sense? See, that's one of them low blows the European try to use when they say our ancestors didn't have enough knowledge to build the pyramids. But yet they can't come up here and show how it was done. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, so, you know, the days for that foo-foo is over with. Our brother up here, Noble Brian, I love that, but Noble Brian hit it spot on. He said Reggie and Ankh got too much hate in them, and especially Ankh, because he hate to even hear Brother Commission talk. I be paying attention to the blatant disrespect. Yeah, that's right. That's what it is. He don't even want to hear me talk. I talk 5 minutes. They say I've been talking all day, and they can be done talk 30 minutes. And that's what I'm saying. We should never get into this information to where it's got ones beefing. You know, because I don't hate that brother. I don't even know him like that. They attack me for the information. I'm just putting it out there to show our people what we want at. And so that's why I go to saying if they keep doing that, you know, what end up happening is, you know, they basically end up causing a conflict, you know, among our people. And then you got people following that cultic-like behavior. And it's crazy. You know, so honest to y'all for sitting here, you know, and listening to this measure, you know, and honest to everybody. You know, I go to their channel, I support our sisters at Unscrambled Mind. Them sisters do a good job. Don't let these knuckleheads and imbeciles come on your platform, you know, and try to make it like that garbage they be demonstrating on their own. You know, and shouts out to Sarnetta for being the stand-up brother that he is, you know, and he one thing about him, he don't discriminate. You know, he gonna call one out, and he was calling Reggie out, and Reggie does not like to be corrected. Everybody he talks to, he feel like he most superior. Even the elder Walter Williams, who beat him up. You know? Yeah, he outright admitted that we were speaking the truth, family. But we got him now. You know, we already see what they about. So y'all stay tuned in, because we got way more greater measures than this, family. You know, we got way more greater measures than this. Peace and love, family. Honest to the family. At this time, you know, we're going to continue to move on and do our thing and just say gratitude for having your listening ear, you know, on this blessed day. So Shimo Tepu Uncle Jet Sanel, you know, the peace of the ancestors I offer to you be in life, health, and prosperity. You know, and may we meet again, as we call that the meeting of the mind. Peace and love, family. We love you.